Couple of things about me. Number one, I am feeling my Y2K earth tone vibes today. Number two, I am somewhat of a dark mistress. I am a cult leader. This channel is where I run my own personal cult. So yes, lovely to meet you. My name is Haunted Hippie. Government name is Kylie. The third thing about me that you need to know if you don't already is that I stay excited about horror movies all year long. So we have to talk about all of the horror movies releasing in 2025 that I'm aware of. Yes, literally all of them. First, I'm gonna go through all the movies that we know the release dates of. So we'll go in order starting in January. Then I'll go through all of the alleged upcoming movies that just don't have release dates yet. If that sounds good to you, I talk about all things horror on this channel, so stick around, not just for today, but until the end of time. Click the subscribe button, and then the like button, and then the notification bell, that way you never miss the next video. But let's kick off today's video with Wolfman, directed by Lee Wanell. This one is releasing January 17th, which all the movies we're gonna talk about in January, I'm gonna side-eye just a little bit. Traditionally, January is a bit of a dumping grounds for movies that the studios just don't have a lot of faith in. Quarter one of the year, they're not that fussed. They're like, okay, this one's not gonna be that big of a hit, so let's just put it there. That's why this one confuses me, because Lee Wanell's Invisible Man was a total hit, and then this one stars Christopher Abbott, which I'm stoked for. If you didn't catch Sanctuary with him last year, also starring Margaret Qualley, watch it with haste, but only if you're kind of a sexual little freak, otherwise you might not like it. This also stars Julia Gardner, so that's a plus, but it is a Blumhouse movie, and the quality of Blumhouse, mama, in the last 5 years, like, we need to get it together. Someone needs to get Jason Blum on the phone and go, hey, girl, and then just hang up. And if you're new here, I don't watch trailers for things that I'm anticipating. It's just not something I do. If it's a movie that I feel like I am not super stoked for, then I'll do a trailer reaction over on my Patreon. So this one, I don't know what the vibes are gonna be. I've heard from people that the trailer looks like it's gonna be kind of one of those lower budget, less exciting Blumhouse movies, and unfortunately, I know exactly what they're talking about. So we'll just have to wait and see, but I do have faith in Lee Wanell, I have to say. Up next, we have Screamboat, which is releasing January 24th. A late night boat ride turns into a desperate fight for survival in New York City when a mischievous mouse becomes a monstrous reality. This is, of course, a response to Mickey Mouse becoming public domain. This one I'd be lying straight to your face if I said that I wasn't a little bit stoked for it. It stars David Howard Thornton, who everybody knows by now, and he's starring alongside Tyler Posey. And I feel like that's just not a pairing that was foretold in the prophecy. So yeah, I'll be checking it out. Same for Companion, which is dropping January 31st. You've probably seen the trailers already in theaters. This one stars Sophie Thatcher and Jack Quaid, so I think enough said there. And I'm pretty sure that Zach Krager, who directed Barbarian, is producing this one. It's a good team, that's all I need to know. I don't care that it's coming out in January. The cast alone is gonna be enough to get me through it at least. Next up, we've got Heart Eyes. This one's coming out February 7th. For the past several years, the Heart Eyes killer has wreaked havoc on Valentine's Day by stalking and murdering romantic couples. This Valentine's Day, no couple is safe. And this one stars Olivia Holt, Jordana Brewster, and Devon Sawa. Okay, early 2000s legends. I'm so here for it. I don't know the last time that we got a Valentine's Day horror movie. Honestly, the only worthy Valentine's horror movies that we have so far are Valentine from 2001, and that movie is god-awful, and the original My Bloody Valentine. The rest of them are truly irrelevant to me. This one I feel like is bound to be a hit with that cast. Up next, we have The Monkey. I'm sure you've heard of this one as well. This one's coming out February 21st, and it's directed by Oz Perkins, who gave us Longlegs this year. And the cast, Theo James, Elijah Wood, and Oz Perkins himself is going to be in it. If you don't remember him, what was he in? The House Bunny? He plays a weird little guy. I think it was House Bunny. So stoked to see him act again. Also, I believe that James Wan is producing that one. It follows twin brothers who find their father's old monkey toy in the attic, and after that, a series of gruesome deaths begin. The next weekend, we have The Gorge, which is directed by Scott Derrickson. He's given us such classics as Sinister, and then also The Black Phone recently. This one stars Miles Teller, Sigourney Weaver, and Anya Taylor-Joy. What? Two highly trained operatives become close after being sent to protect opposite sides of a mysterious gorge. When an evil emerges, they must work together to survive what lies within. This one is unfortunately, I think, only coming to Apple TV. That one's coming out on February 28th, as is the next movie. Oh my gosh, I forgot to mention that I will be ranking probably my top 5 or top 10 most anticipated at the end of this video, so stay tuned. Anyway, on that same weekend, we're getting the movie Vicious. A woman spends the night night fighting for her existence as she slips down a rabbit hole contained inside a gift from a late-night visitor. This one has Dakota Fanning in it, so I love that she is sticking with horror. I really, really loved her in Watchers this year. This one also stars Katherine Hunter, who was the only good thing about The Front Room, and if you haven't seen that one, that's okay. Jumping to March, on the 7th, we are getting Sinners, and you've probably heard about this one. If not from anywhere else, then definitely from me, because I am so excited for this. Directed by Ryan Coogler and starring Michael B. Jordan. Literally just say less. Like, literally stop talking. I'm there, I'm already seated. But it also stars Haley Steinfeld, and this one is a period piece, and it's a vampire movie. If Michael B. Jordan is not the vampire, oh my god. At the very least, he's got to be the sexy vampire hunter. I don't know which, and I don't want to be told. I'm excited, I'm seated either way. Apparently, Yame Koyetsera is also coming out with a movie. It's titled The Woman in the Yard. It's coming out March 28th. This one doesn't have any info on IMDb, and I'm also unfamiliar with the cast, but I had to shout it out because I do love the director. He also gave us Orphan, he gave us The Shallows. He also recently did Carry On for Netflix, so I will be seated for that. I will be seated for that, yes. Now the next movie, Drop, is releasing on April 11th. This one is directed by Christopher Landon. I have a soft spot for him, even though some red flags have popped up in his work before. But in this one, a widowed mother's first date in years takes a terrifying turn when she's bombarded with anonymous threatening messages on her phone during their upscale dinner, leaving her questioning if her charming date is behind the harassment. I'm completely unfamiliar with the cast, but I also was completely unfamiliar with the cast of Happy Death Day, and that was a hit, as was Freaky. And you know what? So yeah, I trust Christopher Landon. We're gonna have a good time. Now the cast on this next one, it's called The Ritual. It comes out April 18th, and it stars Al Pacino, Ashley Greene, and Dan Stevens. You already had me with the first two, but Dan Stevens, he is kind of the like underground king of horror right now. Scream King, very versatile character actor, one of the funniest men alive, love him to death, can do any accent, etc, 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 etc. Ashley Greene, my lovely Alice from Twilight, and I'm so sorry, like I know she has branched out a lot from that, but I love Twilight. I love Alice to death. I actually am neither Team Edward nor Team Jacob. I am Team Alice. If we're being real though, I'm probably a little bit more Team Charlie, but that's Bella's dad. So anyways, this one is about two priests, one questioning his faith and one reckoning with a troubled past. They must put aside their differences to save a possessed young woman through a difficult and dangerous series of exorcisms. Ooh, have I lied? Am I actually not that stoked for that? I'll go for the cast. I don't like exorcism movies. I don't like that they're making this big comeback because literally none of them have been good. The only one that will be good is the one coming in 2026 because Mike Flanagan is doing it. So next up we have Clown in a Cornfield. This one is coming out May 9th. A fading Midwestern town in which Friendo the Clown, a symbol of bygone success, reemerges as a terrifying scourge. That's giving It a little bit. And also I would like to point out this movie is an hour and 29 minutes. Drop is only an hour and 25. The Woman in the Yard is only an hour and 25. Love that. Love that we're bringing back mid-budget, less than an hour and a half long horror movies. Hard Eyes is an hour and a half, so is Screamboat. I don't have the info on the other ones, but anyway. Final Destination Bloodlines is up next. This one has a May 16th release date, and this will likely be the final film starring Tony Todd. I can't remember if there was one more that he shot that might be coming out after this one, but they're still keeping things heavily under wraps for this one, though I wouldn't doubt that a trailer is probably coming out pretty soon. Another one that you'll know up next, this is where we start getting into all of the sequels of everything, because unfortunately, like the stuff that they don't want to take a chance on, they dump earlier in the year. That's like more the original stuff. So now up next we have 28 Years Later, but you should still be excited because this one is directed by Nia DaCosta, starring Aaron Taylor Johnson, Jodie Comer, and Cillian Murphy. Yep. That one's coming out June 20th, and the plot is still under wraps, and honestly, thank God. Same thing for Megan 2.0, which is getting a June 27th release date, and I guess it's been confirmed that Allison Williams is returning for that because she is listed on the IMDb credit. But what I'm more excited about during that time frame is a little movie likely to be titled Killer Doll, which was my first horror movie as an actress. Yes, I was cast in a horror movie this year. We wrapped a month ago, and they want to release it around the same time as Megan, just to, you know, go off of the hype of the whole Killer Doll thing. That was our working title. I hope that they keep it because believe it or not, there has never been a movie titled Killer Doll. Unbelievable. musical, starring me and all my friends. I'm so beyond stoked for you guys to see it. It's gonna get a limited theatrical release, and then it's also gonna get a physical media release, and then it should be on like Amazon, Tubi, you know, all that fun stuff. Next up, I know that you're already aware of I Know What You Did Last Summer. We're getting that one July 18th, and it was very recently confirmed that Jennifer Love Hewitt is also returning alongside Freddie Prinze Jr., and I think that one's basically just gonna feel like a remake, I mean a requel if you will. It's gonna feel very Scream 2022, you know? I love the original. I'm really excited for that one. This next one, I don't know. Thread and Insidious Tale, we're getting that one August 29th. A couple resorts to a spell to travel back in time, hoping to prevent their daughter's tragic death. I don't understand how that fits in the Insidious franchise. There's never been magic before, but starring Mandy Moore and Kumail Nanjiani, I like them both, so might be fun, might be funny. And then the very next weekend, we are getting a Conjuring film. Like, what is this, 2013? It's apparently going to be the last Conjuring movie because Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson posted like very touching farewells to their social media once they wrapped. So Ed and Lorraine Warren are taking on yet another case, and yet again, it's going to be directed by Michael Chavez. And I have been so underwhelmed with all the movies he's directed in that franchise. I think he is a deeply uninteresting director. The movies he makes are gorgeous, but like, I don't know how much I can attribute that to his DPs because like, I just have felt that the performances and the stories are so bland in the movies he's directed. So I don't know. I'm not really that stoked. I'm not that big of a Conjuring person, to be honest. The next one sounds a little bit more interesting. It's coming out on September 19th and it's called Him. Rated R. It's about a promising young football player who joins an isolated compound to train under a dynasty team's aging quarterback. Julia Fox is in this one alongside Marlon Wayans. So that, you know, that's unique. I love the idea of getting a football horror film. A lot about football is really horrifying. First of all, gross. First of all, smelly. Second of all, the amount of head trauma that like literal 14-year-olds are experiencing because of that sport. And then also subsequently, like in the NFL, men that have experienced head trauma and then have gone on to commit like domestic violence. Crazy sport. Like, it's no wonder nobody else in the world, like no other country, wants to play it. But anyway, so that one has my attention for sure. The next one, I might have sad news. We're supposed to be getting Saw 11 on September 26th, and it's supposed to be directed yet again by Kevin Greutert, who is the best director of that franchise. I mean, yeah, okay, there's James Wan. Let me not speak too loosely. But with the numbers released by Lionsgate recently, they have lost like $600 million in the fiscal year of 2024. So things are looking a little bit grim. I have heard rumors that like a lot of people have been laid off. They're like kind of restructuring there. And Kevin Greutert has also posted like very ambiguous things about Saw. Like he posted just a picture of the last frame of Saw 10, which looked kind of like a farewell, kind of like a lot of fans were just reading into it as, oh, so this isn't happening, you know? So I don't know about that one. We were supposed to get it this year, remember? Which if Lionsgate was smart, they would have pushed to release Saw 11 this year because it kind of seems like the Saw franchise is keeping them afloat. Or not anymore because they didn't release a Saw movie this year and look how they did. Not me coming for all the studio heads. Next up we have The Bride, which is Maggie Gyllenhaal's take on the Frankenstein story. The cast on this one, Jake Gyllenhaal and Christian Bale. Christian Bale is playing the monster. Sorry if I just made the mic peak, but I'm excited. Although I don't really know if I'm seeing her vision because the first looks we've had at Christian Bale, this isn't what I wanted to see. This is not what I want to be saying right now, but it's giving Jared Leto's Joker, and that's just it's unfortunate. It is. So I'm hoping that everything comes together and that it exceeds my expectations. Next up, we have The Black Phone 2. So Scott Derrickson is staying booked and busy, and Ethan Hawke is reprising his role, as is basically the entire cast, even Miguel Mora, who was a ghosty in the first one. I don't know how you make a sequel to The Black Phone. Like, I don't know how you do that. I will be seated because this is my job. job, but otherwise, I don't understand why we're going back. I don't know. Also, I lied. I keep lying straight to your face. I will also be seated for Ethan Hawke. He is one of my favorite actors of all time. Something about that man. Anyways, that one's coming out October 17th, and I'm also very excited for the next one, which is Predator Badlands. We're getting that one on November 7th, and it will be directed by Dan Trachtenberg, starring Elle Fanning, which is interesting. I'll be interested to see if she can carry a horror role like that. She just has such a soft energy. It'll be interesting to see if she can pull off like badass final girl vibes. The last movie we have a release date for is Five Nights at Freddy's 2, which is coming out December 5th. Josh Hutcherson, Matthew Lillard, they will be returning, reprising their roles, and Emma Tammy is coming back to direct once again. Do I have faith in this movie? No, I do not, but the fandom, I'm sure they will. I'm sure they're gonna absolutely love it once again, so that's just not even for me to talk about. Now, the rest of the movies on this list we do not have release dates for, so I might blow through these a little bit faster, but who am I kidding? I love to yap. The Strangers Chapter 2 got pushed to 2025, as I'm sure you're aware. I think because of the horrendous reception to The Strangers Chapter 1, but you know, the same team is coming back. We do have a synopsis, but it's the same as the first one. The synopsis only changes for The Strangers Chapter 3, which they've already spoiled. Like, Madeline Petch, I mean, we knew she was gonna be the main character for the whole trilogy, but it's like, when you put her on the cast list on IMDb, it's like, okay, well then there's zero stakes for parts 1 and 2, and we know she lives, like, okay, but apparently Strangers Chapter 3 is also gonna be coming out in 2025. I kind of doubt that, but who knows. Next up we have Let the Evil Go West, and I'm pleased to say that it stars Sebastian Stan. He came back to horror. He's a very, very interesting working actor at the moment. A railroad worker finds fortune and experiences disturbing visions driving him to madness. His wife believes an evil presence has attached itself to their family. Sebastian Stan is a railroad worker? Okay, sign me up. Apparently in 2025 we are also getting another 47 Meters Down movie. This time it's titled The Wreck, directed by Patrick Lussier, which I'm so sorry to say, it just never excites me, but I could see people loving him if they enjoy like a good junk food horror movie. For sure. Like Dracula 2000, the My Bloody Valentine remake, sure. This time it follows a father and daughter on a scuba diving trip, and they're trying to escape a labyrinth and evade deadly sharks. I actually will be seated for that, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's gonna just go like straight to Amazon or something. Maybe on Netflix, because Netflix has had the 47 Meters Down movies at different times. I don't know though, doesn't say. The next one we know for sure is coming to Netflix though, and that would be Fear Street Prom Queen, which originally this was supposed to be directed by Chloe Okuno. That was announced shortly after Watchers came out in 2022. So what the hell happened? Because now it's being directed by someone named Matt Palmer. I don't know him. What happened to Chloe Okuno? I feel robbed. Like, why was this taken away from a woman? Remember how the first trilogy was just fantastic? Why aren't we keeping up those vibes? Like, why even wasn't Lee Janiak the replacement for Chloe Okuno? Whatever. Next up, we have Bring Her Back, which is being directed by the Philippa brothers. That, of course, brought us Talk to Me last year. This time they've cast Sally Hawkins, which is super exciting. We have no plot info though, but excited regardless. And I can't remember if I talked about this one last year, but Until Dawn is still upcoming, directed by David F. Sandberg. This one, of course, is an adaptation of the video game, and I think that it was confirmed that Hayden Panettiere is going to be reprising her role for the movie. Can't remember though. I might be lying straight to your face because I'm known to do that, but hopefully we will be getting that one in 2025, because I swear it was supposed to come out last year. I don't know. This next one, The Scurry, have you heard anything about this? It's going to be starring Ella Purnell. She is our lead. Chaos erupts at an Echo Cafe when a horde of deranged squirrels seeks revenge on the staff and visitors, forcing two summoned pest controllers to face the onslaught. So like, it's a killer squirrel movie, and say fucking less. I am so stoked for Ella Purnell to do something so weird. She's already proven herself, so like, yeah, let her go off and do something so strange. She's so crazy, love her. I'm not gonna lie to you, that one might make my top 10 most anticipated. Beneath the Storm sounds like it will be yet another shark film that we're getting in 2025. In the midst of a raging hurricane, a coastal community fights for survival as they are besieged not only by the destructive forces of nature, but also by the relentless threat of sharks. Struggling against the pounding rain, debris-strewn streets, and enveloping darkness, Ooh, they must band together to fend off these deadly predators if they have any hope of making it. Phoebe Dynevor is starring in this one. Girl, I don't know how to say your last name, I'm sorry, but she's from Bridgerton. Love her. And now she is starring in a hurricane shark film. How exciting. Now this next one, do we have any Alexander Ludwig truthers in the chat? Let me know, because I have been one since Hunger Games, since day one. But he is starring in a movie called Night Comes, directed by Jay Hernandez. Throughout recorded history, entire civilizations have mysteriously disappeared. For two sisters living in the modern day aftermath, daylight is their only refuge. Kind of sounds like it's giving I Am Legend, maybe, a little bit. Could this be a zombie film? Or even also like It Comes at Night? I don't know. Apparently we're getting another Silent Hill movie next year as well, this one titled Return to Silent Hill. I'm not familiar with anybody involved, but when a mysterious letter calls him back to Silent Hill in search of his lost love, James finds a once recognizable town and encounters terrifying figures both familiar and new and begins to question his own sanity. Sounds like every other Silent Hill, right? So anyway, the next one, apparently we're getting a Faces of Death movie, and I don't know if this is a continuation of the original series, but Dacker Montgomery is starring. Ooh. A woman employed as a website content moderator comes across a series of violent videos reproducing death scenes from a film. Okay, yeah, so it sounds like it's definitely kind of a modern day reboot. Georgina Campbell, our barbarian queen, stars in the next one. She also was really good in Watchers, but she's gonna be in a movie called Psycho Killer, directed by Gavin Polone. I'm unfamiliar. Police officer tracks a killer after her husband, a highway patrolman, becomes one of his victims. Okay, sounds kind of like a basic thriller. I don't know. Next up, this one's not listed as a dark comedy, but I hope that it is because it stars Jenny Slate. It's called Mindful, and when a husband unexpectedly passes away while using the Mindful app for meditation, Angela, who has grave doubts about the new wellness fad, discovers that paranormal forces have merged with the technology. That's kind of a boring twist, but I'll be sad. I know that I already talked about this one last year, and I'm not necessarily excited. I just feel like it needs to be pointed out that Darren Aronofsky is going to be working with Jared Leto for some reason on a movie called Adrift. A fishing boat discovers an abandoned yacht with a strange distress call. A deckhand agrees to take lone control of it while it's towed into port, but soon he discovers why it's called a ghost ship. And unfortunately, that sounds like such a cool premise. Can you literally just recast somebody else? Put a Robert Pattinson type in the role. I feel like Harris Dickinson could probably do it. Anyway, I'm also still very excited for Dust Bunny. I don't know what's going on with this one. I feel like this is probably the third year that I've talked about it, but an 8-year-old girl asks her scheming neighbor for help in killing the monster under her bed that she thinks ate her family. Literally give it to me. It stars Sigourney Weaver, Mads Mikkelsen, and David Dastmalchian. Gimme it. Give it to me. I think it might be because Brian Fuller has some allegations against him right now, so put somebody else in the director's seat. I don't care. Obviously, it's been greenlit. Let somebody else do it. I'm assuming there's a script. Kick him out. Get him out of there. Get him out of there. Let somebody else do it. You know what? One of these days, a studio head is gonna look at me and he's gonna think, this girl's got some good ideas. Ugh. Next up, we have The Damning of a Country Merchant. I'm excited for this one because it stars Mackenzie Davis and Peter Sarsgaard. In 1910 Indiana, evil seeps into the lives of a shopkeeper and his family after his wife pursues an impassioned affair with a visitor who has taken up residence in their home. Scandalous. Period piece. I'm stoked. This next one seems like it's kind of trying to rip off the Hell House LLC title because it's just called Hell House but seems unrelated. It's starring Stephanie Scott though, and this one I feel like I have talked about, but some of these I'm mixing up with ones that I've talked about during like my horror movie news live streams. I do those every once in a while. Dawn and Michaela, high school peers in a small southern town, navigate a complicated relationship in preparations for a religious Halloween event, facing opposition from townspeople that leads to disastrous consequences. It takes place around Halloween. I hope that it's coming out in October, and I do really like Stephanie Scott. She's from Insidious 3, if you didn't know who she was. This next one is an alien movie. It's called They Found Us. During a camping trip in the Utah wilderness to heal their broken relationship, a father and daughter must fight against a hostile extraterrestrial life form to prevent their abduction to an unknown and terrifying alien world. I love alien horror so much, and I kind of wish they would get abducted because it doesn't happen a lot in alien movies. The next one is titled The Home, starring Pete Davidson, which I also feel like I've talked about before. I might have just talked about like the casting announcements, so I'm gonna stop saying that. It follows Max, who realizes that the residents and caretakers in the retirement home he started working at hide sinister secrets. Love that. Retirement home horror? Absolutely. The Manor, I feel like it's kind of underrated. I might have liked it a lot more than everyone else, but it stars Barbara Hershey. It came out in 2022. I recommend it. We need more retirement home horror. This next one stars Doug Jones. It's called Don't Open the Door. A young man tells his new girlfriend that he loves her for the first time and then finds himself next in line for a nightmarish curse that's claimed all the boyfriends who have come before him. I really hope that that's a dark comedy, and I hope that Doug Jones is some sort of like entity or creepy crawly ghost that's following around her boyfriend. I would like that. I also think I'm gonna like the next one, and is it just because it's starring Dev Patel? That's one secret I'll never tell. It's called Rabbit Trap. In this one, married couple Daphne and Darcy Davenport are two musicians who move from London to a cottage in Wales to complete their new album. By accident, they record a mystical sound never heard before and gradually disconnect from reality. Love the sound of that, by the way. That sounds so psychedelic. I really hope that it is. Next up, Adam Wingard is giving us a horror movie next year, allegedly, and it's called Onslaught. Also starring Dan Stevens. A mother living in a trailer park uses her skills to protect her loved ones from a threat that escaped a secret military base while mercenaries try to contain it. I'm assuming that Dan Stevens is probably playing one of the mercenaries, but I don't know. I hope he has more of a fun-like character role. This next one, more sci-fi horror. It's called Ash. A woman wakes up on a distant planet and finds the crew of her space station viciously killed. Her investigation into what happened sets in motion a terrifying chain of events. And I am unfamiliar with the director and all of the cast, so I'm excited to see some newcomers on the scene with that one. The next one is queer. It's called Queens of the Dead. Drag queens and club kids battle zombies craving brains during a zombie outbreak at their drag show in Brooklyn, putting personal conflicts aside to utilize their distinct abilities against the undead threat. This one stars Katie O'Brien, light of my life, woman of my dreams. You would probably know her from Love Lies Bleeding. I think that she also starred in a Star Wars project, but drag queen horror starring Katie O'Brien, say less. Like, say it with me now, class, say less. It also stars Bridget Lundy Payne, that you would know from I Saw the TV Glow. That one's gonna be a banger. That one is going to go off. There's another one on the list directed by Oz Perkins, so I don't know what that's all about. I hope we're getting 2 of his movies next year. This one is called Keeper. During an anniversary getaway at a remote cabin, a wife is left alone after her husband departs, only to confront a sinister presence that exposes the cabin's chilling past. I'm not gonna lie to you, that doesn't sound that interesting to me, but I will be sad because I'll probably be sad for anything that Oz Perkins does. So just a couple more. Next up we have Cosmetic. It tells the supernatural story of a girl's deadly pursuit of perfection. That sounds fun. Sounds like it might be a little bit of like a response to The Substance or like of the same category. We're also apparently getting a Return of the Living Dead movie. This one is set in 1985, taking place 18 months after the event of the Unita warehouse in Louisville, Kentucky. A new Trioxin 245 leak puts a small Pennsylvania town on the brink of a zombie outbreak during Christmas. I'm assuming that one is probably coming out during December then. We're also allegedly getting Orphan 3. That one has very recently been announced, so I'd be kind of surprised if they got their shit together that quickly and gave us Orphan 3 next year. But Isabel Furman is confirmed to be returning, and then William Brent Bell is once again directing, which is cool. I'd kind of like to see Yame Koyetsera back at the wheel, but alas. I really liked Orphan First Kill anyways, so. The next one is called Together. A couple's move to the countryside triggers a supernatural incident that drastically alters their relationship, existence, and physical form. This one stars Allison Brie and Dave Franco, who are a couple in real life. They have been married for several years, so I'm really curious to see if they're going to be playing the couple in the movie. I wonder if it's going to be like meta at all. I'm stoked to see Dave Franco in a horror movie. I can't remember if he's done one before. He directed The Rental, which was excellent, and starred Dan Stevens, by the way. So I also would like to see him directing more horror thrillers or whatever. And lastly, the last movie on this list before I get into my ranking is Death of a Unicorn. The trailer for this one actually just came out, so I don't know why the release date is not on IMDb, but Jenna Ortega and Will Poulter are in this one. Yes! Father-daughter duo Riley and Elliot hit a unicorn with their car and bring it to the wilderness retreat of a mega wealthy pharmaceutical CEO. If Will Poulter is not the pharmaceutical CEO, I swear to God, that man is so funny. He's so funny. It needs to be studied. That one's probably making my top 10. Okay, I gotta put this together. Oh, also, it wasn't on the list here, but isn't Del Toro's Frankenstein also coming to Netflix next year? I hope so. Ooh, I've got 4 honorable mentions for you. Okay, we have Ash, which is that sci-fi movie that sounded really cool. I'm just unfamiliar with anybody, so they're gonna have to prove themselves before I'm too hyped. I put Dust Bunny as an honorable mention because I just don't think that it's gonna happen. It just seems like it's not happening, but I would love to see it. Is anybody listening? Also, Wolfman and the monkey did not They didn't crap. Also, Wolfman and the Monkey did not crack the top 10 just because they are January/February dumps, so I'm not gonna get my hopes up too high. Also, just conceptually, like, they're not the most interesting to me. So starting at number 10, we have Hard Eyes. I have been dying for another great Valentine's Day horror film, so I do kind of have high hopes, also because I love Devon Sawa. At number 9, I have Companion, and yes, it is a January dump, but that cast, I'm really into Sophie Thatcher and Jack Quaid, so I'm gonna have a little bit higher hopes. At number 8, we have The Scurry. I really do want to see Ella Purnell take on killer squirrels, and I have to be honest about that. At number 7, we have Final Destination Bloodlines. I don't have mega high hopes for this one, but I love Final Destination. It's the last movie of Tony Todd. The cast is decent. I'm hoping that it just delivers some fun. At number 6, we have Drop, simply because Christopher Landon is my boy. I feel like I can always count on him for a good dark comedy, hoping for some laughs. Number 5, we have Death of a Unicorn. Jenna Ortega is that horror it girl. And the concept just sounds so stupid. It sounds so wonderful. I'm so happy that movies like that are being made and that A-listers like her are super down to do them. At number 4, shameless self-plug, we have Killer Doll. Yes, I am more excited for my top 3 than my own personal horror film that is coming out next year, which I shouldn't say that. I don't like when actors call a movie their movie, because it's not. The actors did not put in literally a fraction of like a percentage of the work that the director did. Just let the director call it their movie, okay? Actors, I'm gonna campaign that we stop doing that, okay? The movie that I was in, Killer Doll, that's at number 4. But for my top 3, here we go. I can't believe this one didn't make number 1, but it's all gonna make sense. At number 3, we have Queens of the Dead. Drag queens, Katie O'Brien. I've made it very clear how excited I am for that. So that had to be in my top 3, as did Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, which, let me look that up right now. There has to be a release date. According to Google, it just says initial release 2025, so I don't know what time of year. I'm assuming it's probably gonna be more like fall, but we shall wait and see. The only reason why it's not number 1 is because it is gonna be a Netflix movie, and like, Pinocchio was great. I mean, Del Toro he's not bringing down the standard of his work for Netflix. It's just a thing that I have beef with streaming services. Like, give it to us theatrical. When I'm telling you, my heart sank when I first learned that his Frankenstein was going to Netflix. Whatever. My number 1 most anticipated release of 2025, and I can't wait to go back and react to this and just prove myself right. Sinners. Ryan Coogler is giving us a vampire movie with Michael B. Jordan. I can shut up right now. I don't need to say anything else. That is my number 1. I think it's very clear why. I think my top 3 make complete perfect sense, given me and my personality. Is that what you expected though? Did you think my list was gonna be different? Because yeah, like, I don't have 28 Years Later. I've never liked the first movie, but it's been a long time since I've rewatched it. So I need to go back and reevaluate. Then I need to watch 28 Weeks Later, and then maybe I'll be more pumped for that when things change. And yeah, I didn't put Megan 2. I Know What You Did Last Summer. I didn't put Insidious or The Conjuring anywhere near my top 10. Because you know what? Those movies are gonna be only okay. I would love to be proven wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna be. So anyway, what are your most anticipated movies of 2025? Let me know in the comments down below. I hope that you enjoyed this video. It's not my usual content, but I do this every single year. I've been doing it, I think, since 2021. Have I been doing this since I started my channel? Maybe. But I do this every year. The content around this time of year is always the same. Upcoming, I will be ranking every horror release of 2024. I'll be ranking all the non-horror movies of 2024, and then I'll be ranking all of the horror books that I read in 2024. I really do love January content, even though my ad revenue plummets. But anyways, I hope that you enjoyed. Check out all the other content on this channel. There's lots of fun stuff. I also have a second channel where I post travel content. Most recently, I posted a vlog of when I went to Alcatraz a couple years ago, but I also talk a lot about physical media over there. There's a huge playlist. And then I've already shouted out my Patreon. There's bonus content there every single week, depending on which tier you join. More than anything, I just hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope I catch you in the next one. Bye!